everyone. So today I've got a Mat Pilates workout for you. We'll be getting into. But first, you can lay down a yoga mat. I have mine on carpeting. Carpeting provides that padding that I want. If you're on a harder surface, if you have access to a fitness mat, that would be great. Or if you want to lay down just enough padding that will give you that amount of comfort. It can be with like a medium weight blanket. And then I also have some towels. I've got a larger towel that we can make a nice roll, which I'll be talking about how that can be utilized if you need it. And then you can also have a smaller towel. If you need to towel off at any time, you might want to have a couple towels. But having this smaller towel can kind of give us a prop that we can use if it feels a little bit more comfortable when you're laying on your back, to have some padding underneath your head to adjust that neck, head and neck positioning. You can always stack two folded towels if you need that to be a little bit higher. And likewise, when we're doing our work facing down, again, it can offer that support and comfort for that head neck position. Sometimes people will use a smaller folded towel to offer just enough of a little bit of an angle change or the comfort of padding when we're in seated position. So if you need to go collect those things, go ahead, grab them so that you have them ready. I use a lot of modifications going through the different exercises, so please feel free to use modifications as needed. And then if any particular exercise doesn't feel like it's appropriate for you, you can always just take a break and then pick up with the next exercise that feels like it's right with you with the appropriate modifications. Okay, well with that, let's go ahead, lay back on your mat. And here, we're just going to start with a focus on breathing. You can have those knees bent, legs set hip width distance, or if you want to start off with those legs lengthened out, whatever feels the most comfortable. But from here, I want you to focus on taking a nice deep inhale through your nose, and then exhaling through gently pursed lips or as if through a straw. And again, inhale, drawing that air in deep through the nose. And then exhale, pushing it out. Now, as you take that inhale, allow that air to expand into the side and back portions of your rib cage. Likewise, as you exhale, I want you to think about tapering around the entire base of those ribs. Okay, let's do a series of breaths here. Inhale. And exhale. And again, inhale. And exhale. Go ahead, continue breathing while I talk. So with that inhaling and exhaling, with that focus on what's happening with our rib cage, we're creating or weaving a friendly corset around our ribs to help control their positioning. Now, as we continue to focus on that friendly corset, I want you to start to co-contract into those pelvic floor muscles and start to feel that tightening or bracing across the front of the pelvis into your transverse abdominis muscle or TVA. So let's take some breaths there. Starting to co-contract through our powerhouse. Let's do one more here with this focus. Good. Now, from here, we're going to focus on some low spine articulation. So this is where we want to bend our knees and then set our legs hip width distance from one another. Think of tracking your heels to your sit bones. And then I want you to imagine that you've got a little bowl of water placed on the center of your pelvis. Starting off in a more neutral spine position, we want that water surface to be level. Let's take our inhale here. Now as you exhale, tilt your pelvis towards your rib cage. Start to spill that water towards your belly button, flattening into the low spine. And then inhale, you're going to start to return that neutral spine. And then exhale, tilt. Inhale, restoring towards neutral. So as you continue going through a few more of these with breath, you might find that you want to come just shy of neutral each time you return, keeping a little bit more imprint to bring about that low spine support. Keep that powerhouse working for you. Focus on keeping those seat muscles a little bit soft right now. We'll get into using those glutes eventually here. Inhale, restoring that neutral or towards neutral. Let's do one more. Exhale, tilt into your imprinted position. And then inhale, going back towards neutral. And just know that you can keep degrees of that imprint throughout any exercise. If you need a little bit more support for that low back, you need to feel everything zipped up a little bit more through the front. Even in between exercises, you can use a little bit of that imprint to give you that support. All right, so from here, let's go into some scapular articulation work. I want you to inhale as you slide those shoulders up towards your ears. And then exhale, they're going to glide down towards your hips. And again, inhale, shrugging up. Exhale, gliding down. Inhale, they shrug up. Now as you exhale, slide them down. Feel that friendly corset really wrap around those ribs. Let's do one more. Inhale, sliding up. Exhale, gliding down. And then from here, you're going to reach those fingertips towards the ceiling. Palms are facing each other. I want you to imagine you're laying in a bed of sand. Let's start off by letting the shoulders be a little bit heavy into that sandy bed. From here, inhale, those shoulder blades are going to lift out of that sand. And then exhale, they're going to lay back down. Inhale, they're lifting up and away. Exhale, they're laying back down, restoring some of that length to the back of your neck. One more here. Inhale, they're lifting up and away. And then exhale, lay them back down. So we just worked on that protraction. Let's go into retraction, the opposite direction. Inhale, slide those shoulder blades underneath the ribs like they're trying to hide. And then exhale, they're going to slide back out. And again, inhale, they're sliding in towards each other. Exhale, they're sliding out. Let the back of the ribs drop into the mat a bit. Let's do one more. Inhale, they're sliding in towards each other. And then exhale, they're sliding back out. Go ahead, bring those arms down. From here, we're going to get ready to go into rib cage arms. I'm going to move some of my props out of my way, and perhaps you will need to do the same. So from here, again, we still have those legs set hip width distance from one another. We want to start off by really recruiting into those pelvic floor muscles and staying nice and braced through that transverse abdominis. And then from here, inhale, you start to bring those arms up overhead. Exhale, they're going to circle back around side your body. Inhale, they're lifting up. Exhale, circling around. Inhale, lift. Keep that friendly corset in place. Exhale around. Two more this direction. Inhale. Keep working into those pelvic floor muscles. Keep bracing into that transverse abdominis. One more this direction. And let's take it into the reverse. Inhale. They're circling out and around to overhead. Exhale. They're lowering back down. Inhale. They circle. Just letting those shoulder blades glide around on the back of the ribs. Inhale. Circle. Now as you exhale, lower them, feel your rib cage get just a little bit heavy. Inhale, circle. Exhale, lowering. We have one more. Inhale, circle. And exhale, coming back down. From here, we're going to take it into ab prep. Now, if for any reason coming up into this higher lifted spinal flexion does not feel appropriate for your neck, you can always focus on that initial forward chin nod and then just really focus on bracing into the center of your powerhouse and then coming back down. You're still working into that ab prep. You're still getting that craniovertebral articulation through the connection between the head and the neck. Okay, so from here, we're going to take an inhale with that forward chin nod. And then exhale, peeling up towards the base of the shoulder blades. Now right here, inhale, holding this time under tension. Exhale, you're articulating back down. Keep working into the pelvic floor muscles. Inhale, prepare. Exhale, peeling up. Inhale, hold. Exhale, floating back down. Inhale, prepare. Exhale, lift. Now right here, inhale, hold, or inhale, lift a little higher using those abdominals. Keep space between shoulders and ears. Exhale, you're coming down. Let's have one more. Inhale, prepare. Exhale, lifting up. Holding or inhaling, lifting a little higher. And then exhale, you're coming down. Okay, from here, we're going to go into the marching series. So we're going to bring one leg up and then the other leg up. You can bring in some degrees of that imprinted position or tilting that little bowl of water towards your belly button if you need a little bit more support. You also have the option of keeping one leg down and just focusing on the gesture leg through each one. And then of course when we come into our faster marching, you'll just speed that up a little bit. Okay, so from here we'll bring right leg up, left leg up. We're starting off with those feet pointed, legs are pulled together, but if you need to keep a little breath of air between those legs, please feel free to do so. Starting with that right leg, we're going to inhale, lower those toes toward the ground. Exhale, return. Inhale, lower. Exhale, return. Now I want you to focus on keeping that quiet stability on the left side of your body, not allowing any rotation to creep into the pelvis or into the ribs. Let's do one more. Let's take this to the left side. Inhale, lower, and then exhale, return. Inhale, and exhale. Now focusing on the quiet stability on the right side of your body. We have two more. One more. Now from here, legs are together. You're welcome to stay down with the upper body or peel up into spinal flexion. We're going to use a quicker tempo alternating. We go right, left, right, left. There's 4, 3, 2, 1. Legs together, shoulders, neck, and head come down. From here, you can bring both feet down for a moment, or you can stay in that tabletop. We're going to reach that right leg towards the ceiling. You can offer your hamstrings some support by holding here. And I just want you to take it into some foot and ankle circles right here. Really think of trying to get some air between those toes each time you pass through dorsiflexion. And then go ahead, take it the opposite direction. We're going to try and get some of those snap, crackle, pops out. This is also a nice way to sort of lubricate or grease up the posterior chain of those leg muscles. And then from here, go ahead, bring that leg back to tabletop. We're going to take this on the left side, right into those ankle circles, kind of feeling things loosen up a little bit. And then go ahead, reversing direction. And then go ahead, bring that leg back to tabletop. So from here, we're going to spread those toes, press through the balls of the feet, lift up through those insteps. So you're really firing up into those lower leg muscles. Feeling everything zipped up through the center, starting with the right leg. Inhale those ball of the foot, lower to the ground. Exhale, return. Inhale, lower. Exhale, return. And there's 3, 2, 1. Let's take it over to the left side. Inhale, lower. Exhale, return. Inhale, lower. Exhale, return. And there's 3, 2, and 1. Legs together, staying down or peeling up. Take a moment to refresh that foot position. Keep those lower leg muscles working. Quicker tempo. Here we go. Right, left, right, left. There's 4, 3, 2, 1. Legs together, shoulders, neck, and head come down. Now flexing through the feet and the ankles. Right heel, lower lift. And there's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's switch left. There's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Legs together, staying down or peeling up. Quicker tempo. Here we go. Right, left, There's 4, 3, 2, 1. Legs together, shoulders, neck, and head come down, feet to the mat. Let's get ready for some hip circles. So you can have both legs lengthened out, or you can start with that left leg bent and then just focus on lengthening out that right leg. Either way, you're going to start by tightening across the front of your pelvis and then go ahead and capture those low ribs. From here, we're going to draw the right knee towards the ceiling and then start to open it out to the side and then re-lengthen. Inhale, up, open. Exhale, lengthen. Now I want you to bring attention to those left side obliques as they work to stabilize and anchor the left side of your body in response to the weight of the right leg. Let's go ahead and reverse direction. You're going to take knee to the side, to the ceiling, and lengthen. Inhale and exhale. We have 2 more here. 1 more. From here, let's bring that right leg to a tabletop position, really bracing into that TVA muscle. Inhale, go ahead, cross that knee or that leg across your midline, and then exhale as you open, really tighten up that lap belt. Inhale, we come across. Exhale, we open. So we really want to think about the left side of our body staying plastered down in response to the weight of the right leg. We have 1 more here. Go ahead, recenter that leg, set it down. Let's get set up on the other side. Left leg is long, right leg can be bent or lengthened. We draw the left knee up, open to the side, and then re-lengthen. Inhale, up, open. Exhale, lengthen. Now bringing attention to those right side obliques as they work to stabilize and anchor the right side of the body. 1 more this direction. Let's reverse. Knee to the side, to the ceiling, and lengthen. Inhale and exhale. 2 more. 1 more. Now we're going to bring that left leg to a tabletop position. Inhale. We cross the midline of the body. Exhale, open out to the side, tighten up that lap belt. Inhale, across. Exhale, open, really keeping that right side plastered down in response to the weight of the left leg. 1 more. Go ahead, recenter, rest that leg for a moment if you need to, or go ahead, join me right away into both legs in tabletop. From here, go ahead, bring those arms to an inverted V position. I can have those palms down, or they can be facing the ceiling if that feels a little bit more comfortable. From here, we're going to inhale, everything is centered. As you exhale, legs gently lean to the right as your head turns gently to the left. And then inhale, everything is coming back to the center. Exhale, opposite direction. Now, I want you to really focus on keeping tension out of the arms and the hands. We want to navigate our range of movement by using the muscles along the front and the back of our torso. Let's do a couple more sets here. 1 more. And finishing up this last set. And then go ahead, recenter those legs in tabletop. We're going to slide those arms in next to our body. Go ahead, bring those arms to a hovering height. We're getting ready for our 100. And just know that if you start to fatigue before we get to that 10th set, take a break when you need to. You can always kind of bring yourself back in when you're ready. So from here, I like to feel just a little bit of squeeze into my chest muscles to help stabilize the shoulder complex. You're welcome to stay down, employing a little bit of imprint with that low spine, or you can peel up into spinal flexion here. Likewise, legs can stay tabletop, or you can have them lengthened out on a sustainable diagonal, even coming a little bit more perpendicular to the ceiling. Go ahead, find the position that's right for you. We're going to start pulsing those arms and then take an inhale. Exhale. There's 10. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 20. Inhale. exhale. There's 30. Inhale, exhale, 40. Inhale, exhale, 50. Inhale, exhale, 60. Inhale, exhale, 70. Inhale, exhale, 80. Inhale, exhale, 90. Inhale, exhale, 100. Then inhale, bend those knees. Exhale, shoulders, neck, and head come down. Go ahead, bring those feet down to the mat. From here, let's get ready to go into some leg circles. So just like before with our hip circles, we can have that left knee bent and then just lengthening that right leg towards the ceiling. You can soften that knee as much as you need to depending on what kind of flexibility you're working with through those hamstrings. So I'm going to take a moment and lengthen out my left leg. Now here, regardless of how you have that left leg to position, I want you just to take a moment, soften that right knee, and really feel squared off through the pelvis, through the ribs, through the shoulders. Really co-contracting into that powerhouse. And then from here, you can work on lengthening that leg the appropriate amount, working with hamstrings if you have any tightness through the hamstrings or the low back. Arms can stay down on the mat, or you can lengthen them towards the ceiling. So remember, you can always bend that left leg. Okay, from here, let's take a moment to co-contract. Our first direction is going to be crossing the midline of our body and then circling out and away. Here we go. Inhale, we cross. Exhale, circling around. And again, inhale. And exhale. Really keeping the evenness through the framework of our torso. We have about 2 more in this direction. 1 more. Go ahead, recenter that leg. Let's reverse for 8. Inhale, we open this time. Exhale, we circle it around. We have 4 more. And there's 4. 3. 2. Last one. From here, you can take a moment to just rest that leg on the mat, or if you want to pull that thigh towards your chest for a little recovery stretch, you can. You can even add a little gentle movement here, kind of a nice little release for those hip flexors. And then from here, we'll get ready to get set up on the other side. So our left leg is towards the ceiling, right leg can be bent or lengthened. Let's take that moment, soften that knee, get really squared off, and then you can check in with the flexibility. Arms can be down or lifted. We take that moment to prepare and co-contract. Crossing our midline, here we go. Inhale and exhale around. Inhale and exhale. We have about 2 more in this direction. Go ahead, recenter, reverse for 8. Inhale, open, exhale, bring it around. And there's 4. 3. 2. Last one. And again, just resting that leg, or you can come into that little recovery stretch, even adding some gentle movement if you'd like. And then from here, we're going to get ourselves ready to come into our single leg stretch. So we bring those legs into our tabletop position. We can bring in degrees of that imprint to bring a little bit more support to that low spine as needed. And just know that you're welcome to stay down with the upper body and just focus on the action of the limbs, the breath, and staying nice and co-contracted. So staying down or peeling up towards the base of the shoulder blades. Right here, it's an inhale, tabletop. Exhale, reaching one leg. Inhale, return. Exhale to the other side. Now keep that recruitment into those pelvic floor muscles, into that transverse abdominis. Keep that space between shoulders and ears. Now let's do about 5 more sets. Just know you can take a break if you need to, or you can modify, come down, if you started up in that spinal flexed position. Even just a short reset can kind of get you back in. Last 2. And last 1. Legs together, shoulders, neck, and head come down. And then from here, let's get ready to go into scissors. Now, there's a lot of things we can do to work with hamstring tightness with our scissors. You can keep that top leg bent and just focusing on lengthening through that lower pulsing leg if you'd like each time. Both legs can be working in degrees of tabletop as well. And then of course, if you have that flexibility, you can be working that straighter leg. All of that applies to whether you're staying down with the upper body or if you're doing this in spinal flexion. Okay, so from here, find what's just the right leg extension, getting nice and co-contracted, staying down or peeling up. I want you to grab hold of one leg. You're going to take an inhale, and then exhale. They're going to pulse apart for 2. Inhale, return, and then switch. Now I want you to really work on recruiting into those pelvic floor muscles so that we have a lot of control and support in that lumbar pelvic region. Keep that continual space between shoulders and ears. Let's do about 5 more sets. And remember, take that break when you need to. Let's do about 2 more sets here. Last set. Right here, legs together, shoulders, neck, and head come down. Take a break, rest those legs on the mat, or you can take it right into tabletop. I'm going to talk about crisscross. So there's a lot of modifications we can do with crisscross. You can be working in and out of degrees of spinal flexion if you're using that single leg stretch action of the lower body. A little bit more challenging, keeping that spinal flexion throughout. But we also have another modification if this is a newer exercise, so you're still building strength in it. And that's feet coming from the floor. It's an inhale. Exhale, one leg comes to tabletop as you rotate. Inhale, you return down. And then exhale, you take it to the other side. So everybody should have a place to be. So go ahead, set your legs where you want them. And then it's an inhale to prepare. Exhale, rotate, lengthening that opposite leg. Inhale, return. Exhale to the other side. Now you want to make sure that you're not pulling on the back of your neck, but that is just gently cradling into your fingertips or your hands. So that might kind of indicate if you need to go into, use a modification or an option. Really use that inhale, exhale. Breath trains the body. Body trains the breath. They can really be working together here. Let's do about 5 more sets. Take a break if you need to. Last 2. Last 1. Legs together, shoulders, neck, and head come down. Go ahead, release hands into the feet to the mat. Go ahead and take some recovery breaths here for a moment. And then from here, let's bring those legs towards the ceiling again. Soften those knees. Listen to what those hamstrings are telling you. Hands come behind the head once again. This time, we're going to slightly rotate the armpits towards the ceiling as if we're going to catch rain in them. I want you to feel a real hold of the top of the abdominal wall to those low ribs. And then here, we're going to deliberately work into an imprint of that low spine, maintain it. It's an inhale, legs move away from you, and then exhale, they return, maintaining that imprint, maintaining that hold on those lower ribs. So this is a pretty small range of movement exercise. Let's do about 5 more. Last 2. And last 1. Go ahead, bring those feet down to the mat, release those arms. Okay, we're gonna have one more exercise in this series, and that's our double leg stretch. So those legs come back into that tabletop. And again, this is one that you can stay out of spinal flexion and just really focus on staying nice and controlled in response to the limb actions. Or you can do it in spinal flexion. So from here, we're going to have those hands starting by the head. It's an inhale, arms and legs reach. And then exhale, they come back around. And remember, you can work everything a little bit more perpendicular towards the ceiling, a little bit less of a diagonal. Let's do about 5 more, or take a little break if you need to. Last 2. Last 1. Shoulders, neck, and head come down. Go ahead, release hands and feet to the mat. Take some recovery breaths. From here, let's take it into some hip rolls. So once again, those legs are going to be set hip width distance from one another. Think of tracking heels to sit bones. And then you can have your arms alongside your body. I like to bring mine out to that inverted V position. I also like to rotate my palms towards the ceiling. This kind of helps to remind me to stay relaxed through my collarbones and my neck. But find whatever feels best for you, even thumbs up. Now, if hip rolls aren't necessarily appropriate for you or coming all the way to a shoulder stand, you can bring in those modifications and really just start targeting towards the base of the rib cage. You won't get as much of that spinal extension work, but you will be working into those glutes and hamstrings as well as working into those core muscles. So again, everybody should have a place to be working here. So from here, we're going to inhale. Tuck that tailbone. I want you to put some squeeze into those seat muscles. And then exhale, go ahead, come up to your desired height of your hip bridge. At the top, we're going to take an inhale and just feel everything hug and tighten a little bit tighter. And then exhale, I want you to articulate down vertebra by vertebra. So think of your spine working like a zipper reconnecting to your mat. And then gliding back towards neutral. And again, inhale, prepare by tucking that tailbone, fire into those glutes. Exhale, we're going to drive it up. At the top, inhale, everything tightens. Think of the front of the pelvis like a canvas stretched over a frame. And then exhale, you're articulating back down, vertebra by vertebra. Think about keeping tension out of the neck and the collarbones. Sometimes hard when we first start to roll down. Let's do 2 more. Inhale, prepare. Exhale, we're driving up. Inhale, hugging a little bit tighter into those glutes. Exhale, you're articulating down. Keep that tension out of your neck and your collarbones. And let's do 1 more here. Inhale, prepare. Exhale, driving up. Inhale, you're hugging tighter. And then exhale, you're articulating back down. From here, when you're ready, go ahead, gently roll onto one side of your body, and then you can push yourself up to a seated position. We're going to get ready to go into our seated twist. So, when you're in this 90-degree angle of the torso to the legs, and you feel like you can draw that pelvis into a nice vertical position, you're probably good to go. If, however, you feel some tightness pulling everything sort of under, this is where we can bring in our props. you've got that lower height that you can just kind of pop those sit bones onto. Or if you feel like you need a little bit more of an angle change, you can bring in however much of that towel roll you want to use. If you have a fitness mat, it's a little bit thicker than a yoga mat, you can probably create some nice rolls into that as well. So from here, I'm just going to pop my sit bones up. Oh yeah, that feels nice on the hamstrings. From here, draw those legs as close together as you can comfortably hold them. If you've got a lot of hip flexor tightness, you can keep a breath of air between them. Soften those knees as much as you need to help keep that nice tall seated position. So from here, let's focus on that. I want you to feel that spine lengthening out through the crown of the head towards the ceiling. Think of pulling that belly button towards your spine and then get a hold of those low ribs. From here, we're going to bring those arms out to the side. I usually like to do thumbs up, 7 up here. And take a moment to make sure that those shoulders are a whisper below and a whisper in front of our shoulder heads. We don't want to get into a tensed up position here. If, when we go into the seated twist, you find that that back arm is a little bit too much weight on your shoulder, you can always bend that elbow, reducing the weight or the pull on that shoulder, and then just working it here. All right, so let's take a moment to feel everything co-contracted and ready. You're going to take an inhale, and then exhale, twist pulse for 3. Inhale, center, other side. I set myself up a little too close to my dresser set. That's okay. Matter of fact, I'm going to do that modification on this side so I don't keep tapping it here. I want you to think about getting taller with each twisting pulse. Let's do one more set. Go ahead, recenter, and release those arms. From here, let's get ready to go into rolling like a ball. We're going to be starting with rolling like a ball prep. So kind of make sure that you've got that mat or that desired padding. Mostly you're going to want it around that tailbone, and also make sure that you don't have like a little lip that you're kind of awkwardly rolling over if you're going into that full rolling like a ball. So here, I usually like to have the legs zipped up together, but again, if you've got a lot of tightness in those hip flexors, you might want to keep a little breath of air between those legs, or at least between the knees. Just make sure you keep some starch in those legs. So from here, we're going to pull that tailbone under, and then I want you to round up and over a ball in your lap. Take a moment to roll your shoulders back and down, and then a little neck tension test. Here, you're going to inhale, lean back a little bit, and then exhale. I want you to curl forward, tightening into that lat belt or TVA muscle. Inhale back. Exhale, rounding forward. Keep working into those pelvic floor muscles. Inhale back. Now continue to keep that space between shoulders and ears, and then also maintain width across the back of your shoulder blades. We're rounding in the spine, but we don't necessarily want to take that into our shoulder heads. Let's do one more here. And then go ahead and lengthen up out of that. So you're welcome to stay with that variation. Preparation for rolling like a ball. Those feet are going to stay on that mat. You have that leaning back, and then that tight curling forward, really feeling everything zip up a little bit tighter. Otherwise, we can bring those feet away. So go ahead, get back into your rounded position. We're going to bring one foot up and then the other foot up. Here we can start with micro movement. Inhale back a little. Exhale forward a little. Feeling everything stay stabilized and controlled. You can stay right here with micro movement or go into that full rolling like a ball. Inhale back. Exhale, catch that start position. Inhale back. And exhale, catch. Being careful to stay off the back of the neck. Just kind of really targeting between those shoulder blades. And then from here, give me about 3 more. Remember, take those breaks when you need to. Last one. And then go ahead, come on out of that. Let's take a moment to let those knees open out to the side. Let those hips have a little breath of air. Go ahead, take one as well. And then from here, let's come face down onto our mats. And remember, if you need a little bit different positioning or support for that head and neck, or just for that comfort, you can use one of those smaller towels to bring you that support. So from here, we're going to start with those legs in parallel. We're lengthening through those feet into plantar flexion or pointed feet. Just make sure you're not ripping those toes. You can have those legs zipped up tight or set a few inches apart. It depends on what feels best on your low back. From here, forearms on the mat. Take a moment to slide your shoulders down as you lengthen out through the crown of your head. And then I want you to brace into your abdominals, put some hug into your glutes and hamstrings. And then inhale, we're going to lift those shoulders away from the mat. Exhale, lowering back down. Keep working into your abdominals and your seat muscles. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Keeping length along the back of your neck. Exhale, lower. Let's do two more here. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. One more. Inhale, lift. And exhale, lower. From here, go ahead, let those legs relax for a moment. We're going to reposition those arms alongside our body. Palms start facing the ceiling. Right here, lengthening through those legs, bracing into abdominals, glutes, hamstrings. Inhale, we're going to lift, rotate palms to face your body. And then exhale, lower, they face the ceiling again. Inhale, lift. Get that shoulder head opening, fire into those triceps. And then exhale, lower. And then of course, if this doesn't feel appropriate for you, you can always go back to the support of those forearms on the mat. Let's do two more. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. One more. Inhale, lift. And exhale, lower. Let those leg muscles relax for a moment. And again, we're repositioning the arms, hand over hand underneath the forehead. So if for any reason, lifting the weight of the arms with those shoulders, head and neck doesn't feel appropriate for you, you can slide those arms out, almost coming to that first position. And then here, you have that comfortable space for those shoulders to be working without adding the weight of the arms. Okay. From here, lengthen those legs, bracing abdominals, glute, hamstrings. Inhale, we're lifting up. And then exhale, lowering back down. Keep working to the abdominals and the glutes. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Let's do two more here unless you need that break. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. One more. Inhale, lift. And exhale, lower. From here, you can hang out. Or let's take a moment, bring those legs a little bit further apart, and you can push yourself back into a child's pose or a shell pose or whatever stretcher pose. Feels like a nice recovery position. And then just go ahead. Use that breath to help that stretch and recovery. And then from here, our final series of work, we're going to be working into side lying. So if laying on one side of your body does not feel appropriate for any reason, perhaps you have shoulder issues or neck issues that make this a really difficult position to work in at all, go ahead, you've done a great job working. This is where you get to take that nice big break in recovery. If you are continuing on with the sideline work, we have some modifications. I usually like to bring the elbows straight out from the shoulder, create a nice little shelf. If you need some more support, however, you can use some of your towel props, either just right or below the ear, bringing support to that neck, or the head resting. If you have access to yoga blocks, I know a lot of people will use those as well, placing it underneath that hand to help bring that support. All right, so from here, we're starting off with our legs in parallel, feet are pointed. A lot of exercises in sideline, especially using a parallel hip position, you can bend that base leg and just really focus on that top leg. Either way, make sure that the legs are set maybe a whisper or two in front of that hip line. You should be able to get a peek at the tops of your feet or your toes. That kind of helps to keep us out of an unstable position. Here, we can find a little bit more access to those controlling powerhouse muscles. Okay, from here, we're gonna co-contract into our powerhouse, recruit into those pelvic floor muscles. Inhale, lift with a pointed foot, and then exhale, flex and lower. Inhale, point, lift. Exhale, flex, lower. You can have that hand helping to bring you some support. I want you to think about keeping space between that top shoulder and the ear. That's always my big challenge. I start to allow tension to creep in there. Let's do 5 more here. Last 2. And last 1. Now, pointing that top foot, we're going to have 5 little upward circles with an inhale. We're going to reverse down with an exhale. Here we go. Inhale, up, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, down, 2, 3, 4, 5. Take it up, 2, 3, 4, 5, and down, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, up, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale, down, 2, 3, 4, and 5. From here, let's flex through one or both feet. If you have that leg bent, you can just relax that ankle. Both legs lengthen. Go ahead and flex them both. We're going to reverse that footwork. Inhale, lift with that flexed foot. Exhale, point lower. Inhale, lift, flex. Exhale, point lower. Now, I want you to think of using that top edge of the foot, aligning it parallel to the ceiling, level from heel to pinky. Let's do 5 more here. Last 2. Last 1. Now, flexing that top foot again, we're going to use a larger, slower leg circle pattern. Inhale, that leg is going to come forward. Exhale, it's going to circle up and around to the back. Inhale, forward. Exhale, working around. And again, we want to track the top edge of that foot parallel to the ceiling. That really makes as many leg muscles working at one time as possible. Sharing the work here. Okay, last one this direction. Let's reverse. Inhale, pull that heel to the wall behind you. Exhale, we're bringing it up and forward. Think of that big toe leading that charge forward each time. Let's do about 2 more here. Last one. Good, and then go ahead, relax that foot and ankle position. Slide those legs to a sideline tabletop position, and then you can keep those shins down for clamshell, or a little bit more challenging, you can bring those shins up and away. From here, we're going to inhale, open that top knee, and then exhale, close. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. Keep recruiting into those pelvic floor muscles. Keep that work into your TVA muscle. With those shins lifted, we tend to have a little bit more access to range of movement in that hip, but with that increased range, we want to bring the support of our powerhouse. Let's do 4 more here. Last 2. Last 1. And then go ahead and lower those shins. Here, you can just take a little break. Maybe have that little side bend reach, or if you want to take it into heaven stretch, we can go there as well. So just using nice relaxed breath. You can come in and out of this 2 or 3 times.
free to use whatever stretcher pose feels like a nice recovery for you. I gotta allow myself to get a little squished up against this wall. That's all right. And then we're gonna gently come on out of that heaven stretch. And let's get set up on the other side. So here we're getting into that shoulder over shoulder, hip over hip stacking, making sure that we have those legs set a whisper or two in front of that hip line. Co-contract to prepare. Legs are parallel, feet are pointed, and it's an inhale, lift, point. Exhale, flex lower. Inhale, point, lift. Flex lower, keeping space between that top shoulder and top ear. Keep that work into those pelvic floor muscles and TVA. Let's do 5 more. Last 2. And last 1. Pointing that top foot, we have those little upward circles. Inhale, up, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, down, 2, 3, 4, 5. Take it up, 2, 3, 4, 5. And down, 2, 3, 4, 5. Final set, 2, 3, 4, 5. And down, 2, 3, 4, 5. From here, we're going to flex through the feet and the ankles. Reverse that footwork. Inhale, lift, flex foot. Exhale, point lower, lift, flex. Point lower. And again, we're working the top edge of the foot parallel to the ceiling, level from heel to pinky. And of course, that's also going to help you work within the appropriate range of movement for you. Let's do 5 more. Last 2, and last 1. Flexing through that top foot, we're going to work into that larger, slower leg circle pattern. Inhale, forward. Exhale, circling up and around to the back. And again, we're working that top edge parallel to the ceiling as much as possible. Let's do 2 more here. Let's reverse. Inhale, pull that heel to the wall behind you. Exhale, bring it up and forward. Let that big toe lead the charge forward. This up and forward movement, you can really feel how both sets of obliques are working to help keep everything stabilized. Let's do 1 more. And then reunite those legs. Go ahead, let's slide them into that sideline tabletop position, getting ready for clamshell. Remember, those shins can be down, or you can lift them up and away. And right here, inhale, open, exhale, close. Inhale, open, exhale, close. We're keeping that work into the pelvic floor muscles and the TVA. And let's do 4 or 5 more right here. And this is going to be my last one. Good. From here, go ahead, lower those shins down. Going into just a nice, gentle side bend stretch, or if you want to take it into that heaven stretch. Hopefully you've got space for that nice spinal rotation with that second arm as you open your chest to the ceiling. And then when you're ready, go ahead, gently come out of that heaven stretch. And just take your time coming to a nice seated position. Let that blood have a chance to get to where it needs to be. Then right here, just find a comfortable seated position. That might be legs extended out as well. Let's take some breaths right here. And again. One more. Thank you for joining me in this workout. Stay safe, stay healthy.